What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Tonight, we are talking Death Note, episodes 21 through 26, the end of part 1. But before we get into all of that fun, Dave, Doug, how's it going, gentlemen?
Well, Keith, I am fan-freaking-tastic. I've actually had a better week than I did a weekend last weekend. I don't know if that's the proper wording, but it's getting better. So I'm having a better week. I'm getting my my practice in. I'm getting my shows in. I didn't get a chance to watch them twice, but I would have loved to have been able to watch these 6 episodes twice. It's just getting better and better. And I always just, like, during the introduction, I always jump into the show, so I got to stop doing that. So
we were going to say something.
We were going to have management come down. And...
you were going to walk into a hotel room, and we were just going to have, like, a bunch of people sitting in chairs. Hey, Dave, why don't you take a seat?
We need to speak to you.
I hold up a letter, tears streaming down my eyes.
And every time we're just doing introductions, Dave starts talking about the show we're doing.
Well, on that note, Doug, how are you doing?
Well, I believe Keith said that my name is Doug, so I will only respond to that from now on.
Is that like Comma Chameleon?
Yes.
Comma,
Doug.
You come and go. You come and go.
Oh, now we're demonetized.
Actually,
Way to go.
they cut off our internet. They deactivated our account, shut off the internet.
Yeah, we're talking to each other now. Nobody
Right, yeah. Everybody has left. We've got negative subscribers.
We owe them money.
Well, Dave and Keith, let me tell you, I am outstanding. I'm a little sad that this is the I'm gonna follow your lead there, Dave. A little sad this is the end of part 1 of Death Note, but it's been a fantastic journey so far. And I cannot wait for you guys to, like, get even deeper in the world of anime, because this has been fun. I know that we've got Agatha all along coming up and Penguin, and we're gonna get back into our normal superhero groove. But this is always just so fun being able to, hang out and talk about these new and different things, and be able to experience these unusual stories together. I've been enjoying it, and I've been looking forward to this stream. So, with that, Keith, sir, how are you?
Gentlemen, I am tremendous. Another week's almost over. It's always good. I'm always looking forward to the stream ending so I can watch the next couple episodes of Death Note. But so we got to get this started. Okay, let's talk about it really quick. But I mean, it's always good talking to you gentlemen, and like Doug said, it's nice when we got a little lull from what we normally talk about to get some anime in. The more I watch, the more I am enjoying. And I was actually, adding to my list of anime shows to watch, like figuring out what am I going to watch next. I'll probably start watching it, not even for the channel, if you can believe that.
Nice.
So,
Whoa.
I'm looking forward
Very
to
good.
it. The one that Paul suggested was Sword of the Samurai on Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
Signed up for Crunchyroll, so I can watch that. Akira
Awesome.
on Hulu I want to watch, even though Dave said he didn't really like it. A lot of people talk about the sliding motorcycle that Sabine did. I know that was, someone's, she shall remain nameless, Sierra, that really loves Sabine, and when they take from Akira. So. But hey, gentlemen, we've got some sweet stuff to talk about, so we should wait no longer. Let's talk Death Note.
Right.
We had 6 episodes for tonight, ending out part 1. It ended how I thought it would, only in the sense, Elle died.
But did you think it was going to happen this soon?
No.
No, I did not. I honestly...
No, I don't think... Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get through 11... It's only 11 more episodes, right? 37. 11. How are they going to do 11 more episodes without L? He was so built up, and he was such a genius. And it's like you were saying earlier, he knew it was coming, what happened, and of course, yeah, we jumped to the end again. But it's like, um, I don't know who's gonna step up and be the new L. And obviously, that was some really evil looks.
On
Light was
Light's
giving
face.
as he was dying. I was like, holy! And if he didn't know before that moment, he did then. For sure.
All I
That
want to
so that
say,
is
oh,
that's one of the changes between the manga and the anime is the fact that as L is dying in Light's arms, his last thought, he's not able to put it out into words, but his last thought was, "At least I can die knowing I was right. It was you."
all I
He
got to
was.
say about, I hope whoever is the antagonist in part two isn't just another L. It's got to, they got to shake it up a little bit. They don't need someone on, Light's level, genius wise. They just need somebody to throw curveballs at him or do something unexpected. It was like when Misa was introduced, and all of a sudden, Misa was just throwing everything, you know, Light's plans awry because she's like showing up at his house and he's trying to keep everything calm and he is so analytical about the way he approaches things and she's just let's just do whatever. So I really hope we did see, and we'll, don't worry people out in the chat, we will be getting to episodes 21 through 25, but I do we saw kind of the orphanage that Elle grew up and it looks like there was two kids there. So I'm assuming that they might take over, or read Elle's report and try to piece things together, or Elle's going to spell it out for them completely, and they just have to be smart enough to kind of get some physical evidence because that was Elle's problem the whole time. He knew it was Light. He just could not prove it, and you need some type of physical evidence. And once he got his hands on the Death Note and he saw Rem, and he was just like, L's like poking his finger and writing the guy's name in blood, right next to him on that tiny sheet of paper, and I'm just like, dude, are you gonna look over it? But understandably, all of a sudden you see the Shinigami standing there. You're not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna look around. He was just like, I can't believe I'm seeing this, because we saw his reaction when, Misa sent those tapes talking about Shinigami and eyes. He flipped
He
out.
freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it'd be, like the same thing if we had found out that the Grim Reaper was actually real and could kill anyone at will. And we'd be like, oh my God, somebody has the power of the Grim Reaper and is literally just going around offing people whenever they want. Like, I feel like it'd be the same kind of thing. And then, all of a sudden you touch a magic notebook and you see this giant hooded dude with a scythe standing in front of you. You're like, okay, well, this is how my night's going.
And when Light's dad touched the book and he's freaking out, no one else can see it. But, Elle is such a logical being that even though this magical creature is all of a sudden standing, he's just still like trying to piece it all together. Like, okay, so how does this all fit in? I really need to understand exactly what's going on so I can, capture Kira, because he knew that executive was not Kira.
Yeah.
What I love is the fact that Light had it set up so they would specifically find Ryuk's Death Note, the one that had all the rules. If I recall, Misa's did not. I don't think all of the Death Notes come with rules. I believe Ryuk said in the beginning that he wrote those rules in there because he intended on dropping it into the human world. So I like that Light had it set up so that way they would find that specific Death Note, read all the rules, including his fake rule.
Fake rules.
Rules, yes, including his fake rules, and then again it would hopefully take some of it would take some of the some of the spotlights off of Light as being Kira. But obviously knowing L, he's not going to drop it that quick. He's going to be thinking about this stuff. He's going to read these. And I love that he questions Rem throughout this, like, hey, so, is this true? I don't know. Well, would you tell me the truth? Maybe.
Well, and I'm glad they did a good job of explaining Light's plan from the beginning. And once again, him knowing that Rem loved Misa, he took full advantage of it. As soon as L was, well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a criminal write a name in the book. He's to be executed in 15 days. So if he doesn't die again in 13 days after not writing another name, he's like, it says it's a rule, but I need to test it. And then Rem's like, gotta kill him.
Yep. And I love how she pieces it together too. She realizes, oh, what have you done, Light Yagami? And and she knows that this is what's going to kind of wrap everything up all nice and neat for him, forcing Rem to break the Shinigami rule. And now she's sitting there thinking, damn it, why did Misa ever tell him?
And Misa gets the rest of Rem's life again. She's made the Shinigami,
deal again
twice
for a second time,
and she's had 2 Shinigamis basically give her the rest of their life. I'm like, man, I wonder if they ever do the math and tell us how long she's gonna live. I don't want to know.
It's got to be. I feel like it's got to be a couple hundred years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, these Shinigami, they've been doing this for how long, and whenever they feel like it, I'll write another name, okay, and then they get whatever's left of that human's life, off enough humans, it's 20 years here, another 30 years there, maybe 10 years there, and it all adds up after a while. And if the human now gets whatever the Shinigami had collected over that period of time, I mean, wouldn't Misa almost be, damn near immortal? More of a god than Light, who actually wants to be one.
In Light, he's like, I'm going to create this new world and we're going to live in it. So, he discovered that when she said she gave him, she got her eyes again. And then when she dies, then it doesn't matter that she shortened her life again because she gets all that back.
Do you think he set it up that way, knowing she would take the deal again and then he would get basically more life force for her?
Definitely, because you saw how he kind of guilt tripped her into, well, don't you remember Ryuzaki's real name? No, I'm so sorry. And she felt so bad that she couldn't remember what his name was.
Because and then asking her to, well, let's move in together. I'm like, okay, is he starting to at least like her, or is he still just using? Okay, I was like,
definitely.
after watching Light being away from the Death Note for that time and seeing him sort of be very honorable and have these things, I'm like, maybe he is developing things, but it makes more sense that he's just using her because that's more Light when he's in possession of the Death Note.
Also, as soon as he touched the Death Note and got all of his memories back, he instantly became Evil Light again.
Yeah. He did. And I was wondering, when not the murders, but the deaths started occurring again after Light had touched it, why was L the only one to figure it out?
Because some of these other cops are just morons.
I mean, they're walking with him. And walking with him to the paddy wagon, and he just has a heart attack and dies, and Light is holding the book. Come on. Well, they're dunces.
Well, yeah, but his name wouldn't have been in the book because he wrote it on that sheet of paper and put it in his side compartment of his watch. Once again, he always makes sure they can suspect him all they want, but he never leaves that physical evidence so they could actually prosecute him at some point. He's just...
And I love that L asks about that too. He notices that there's a torn piece out of the Death Note, and he even looks at Rem and he goes, so would the Death Note still work if somebody tore like a piece off of a page and wrote a name on it? Would that still work? And I love that she knows that she's got to keep this stuff secret. Ryuk would have done it automatically because he doesn't give a shit. But
Yeah.
Ren has to like kind of go out of her way to be real vague about this stuff to protect Misa. And so I just love that she kind of gives I don't know, I've never used it like that. She knows full well that that's how it works, but she's gonna be like, oh.
Light knew he could trust Ren because of her feelings for Misa more. He could never
Yes.
have trust. He could have promised Ryuk 1,000 apples, and Ryuk would have been.
Yeah.
He'd have just done what he wanted to.
Yeah. And Rem
That's what I love
also
about
knew.
Ryuk. Ryuk
Yeah.
just does not care. He doesn't. He's not on anybody's side. He's there for entertainment.
Yep.
Ryuk is like a cat. He's just walking around Earth, knocking people off shelves, and laughing. This is all just entertainment for him. But no, I love that Rem has also not only has she figured out like that Light's entire plan, she also knows that Misa has become so infatuated by Light that she can't kill Light anymore. Her previous threats pointless.
Yep.
Because she knows that if she kills Light, then Misa would have nothing to live for anymore.
I mean, Light played that perfectly. He really did. And
Yeah.
even, I loved it when Higuchi was driving to the TV station and he was talking to Rem. First, I love when they're like, Rem, there's no one else in the car. Does he have any electronic devices? No, he doesn't. And he's like, who is he talking to? But Rem's like, oh, this is probably Light's plan. He needs him to go there. So he's like, you need to go there just in case that information is there or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, this kid is like the emperor. He has such a perfect plan in place that it's going to work. And I was like, as soon as that one ended, and I was like, I'm watching the next one. I don't care that it's 11:30 at a work night. And I'm like,
it got you.
They like crash them and they're like, to be continued. I'm like, in 2 minutes, I ain't going anywhere. And I'm like, he's getting it back right here now. And I'm like, how are they going to play this off? And I was like, he's got to play it cool. He can't race up and grab the death note. But he let everybody else touch it. Like, he doesn't have a care in the world because obviously he didn't remember his old plan. Very, what was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone? Where he brainwashed.
Total Recall.
Yeah, Total Recall. He's like Total Recall, not remembering his plan from before until he touched it. And finally he touches it. It's just like.
Lets out a scream louder than any of the other people.
What?
Even L's looking at him like, whoa, bro. Like, I mean, I get it's a Shinigami, but like,
Right.
chill.
El was
You
calling
didn't see
his
me react like that.
El was calling his buddies at the orphanage. You should have seen him react when he touched this thing and saw a Shinigami. What a wussy. Unbelievable. But once again, the writing, the way they wrote this show, and the way they had it all figured out before they started, makes it so much better. Watching all of this transpire and then saying, I did all this for this reason, playing it out, and seeing how it was just so meticulously planned, it really couldn't have went wrong. I'm like,
No.
I love this. Man, how am I just watching this now? This show is like 20 years old. And, I mean, I'm happy I'm just watching it because it makes me, can't wait till I'm senile and I can watch it. I've never seen this. Oh, this is great.
At least you get to watch it now that, like, all the episodes are out. Imagine if you had to watch it back when it was originally airing.
It's funny because I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you. Now that part one is over, and obviously at whatever time we're done tonight, I'm probably going to watch, episode 27. How long did people have to wait between part one and part two when it aired? Was there a little
It was
off
about
for a year?
It was about 6 months, yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad. I mean, it's bad, but not. It's not like 2 years. It's not like Invincible and all
Not like
these
the
other shows.
boys. 2 years.
Yeah, no, anime is weird. It's either a short wait or it's an obscenely long wait. And when I say obscenely long, I mean like you can have one season of anime and then like 4 years later you might get the next season. if they feel that it's worth it to renew it, because at the end of the day, most anime is there to be a commercial. It's not really there to tell a good story. Almost all anime, about 98% of anime, is based on some sort of pre-existing light novel or manga. And so what they're doing is they're producing this
Manga.
and putting it out on TV in order to get you to be interested just enough in the story. They're going to cut it off at a certain point and be like, and that now you're sitting there thinking, well, I got to read the rest. I've got to go out and buy all the books to find out not only what are the differences, but how does it end? And a lot of anime will do that. That's like the point. So they don't always go in with the assumption that they're going to do a second or a third season. And not all anime even gets English dubbed either. It's like ones that you think would make sense. Oh, this is going to get a huge, a lot of people watching it. It's probably going to, and then you'll end up finding out, no, that, it's not even going to get dubbed. Or if it does, maybe it'll be like 2 or 3 years later. And you're like, oh, that one, I kind of remember that.
When Sierra was watching, what's that, One Piece,
Mhm.
1,000 episodes, and she was really going through them. She had the Japanese voices, but the English
The English subtitles, yeah.
So I heard a lot of words the same. I guess that's how people learn, just the repetitiveness of another language. And I heard a lot of words in Japanese that I kind of figured out, but I never remember it now. Just from reading them below and hearing what they said, like, Domo arigato, I already knew that one, but like, oh, thank you, So you learn a few words that way.
Yeah.
But she watched the entire series that way, and she said it was better.
There are
Yes.
some people that will say that. Like, this has been kind of an ongoing argument for years and years now. Dubs versus subs. What is better? What's the purest way to watch it? And I'm good myself. I'm good with either or. If there is an anime that is interesting enough that I'm sitting there and I'm realizing, okay, they haven't dubbed it in English yet, but the story sounds interesting enough. If I feel like I'm not going to lose focus, I'll go ahead and I'll watch it. Like, there's a couple that I'm watching right now that they haven't gotten an English dub, and they're fine. Like, I can follow along, and some of the Japanese voice acting is good, and then others, I've become so accustomed to the English voice actors, and they're just so good that I can't really watch it not dubbed. Like, there's this one that I want you guys to watch called Overlord, and the English voice cast is so phenomenal. I can't watch it in its original Japanese.
See, when I watch this one, when I watch Death Note, if I'm not watching the screen, I'm not really missing much until every few seconds there's something you need to see. But if you're not watching it and you're just hearing it, well, they're describing everything for you. You're just getting the extra little visual part. It's like somebody's reading the book, and then they have images to back it up. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I really like the series and every way they've presented it. So,
Well, can we slip into tangent time real quick?
Of course. Give me
let's
one.
slip and slide.
Boom. Tangent time.
We're in tangent
Dave,
time.
Keith, what if I told you that the creator of Death Note has heard your cries and knew that you loved
can hear
Death
me
Note
crying?
so much? He can. He
Especially
knew
when
that you
outside.
loved Death Note so much that he took it upon himself or herself or whatever this individual is, we'll never know, and decided, well, I'm just going to do it again, but we're going to switch it up a little bit. And made a whole new anime, well, book first, did a whole new story where the idea is God wants to retire and he's looking for somebody to take his place. So he sends all these angels down to give people who want to take a toaster bath, I'll put it that way, looking for those people in particular, who have nothing left to live for to give them a series of magic powers. They can use these arrows to make people fall completely in love with them and do whatever they say. They can, or they could shoot an arrow that would kill people, or they have the ability to fly. Some will have the ability of all three.
You mean they don't just turn into spaghetti?
No.
Oh, okay.
And so, and so this is kind of his. What if I did Death Note, but just a little bit different? So instead of a magic notebook, now it's magic angels, and they kind of take the place of the Shinigami. And they, whatever angel is attached to a human, they have to follow that person around, and they're the ones that determine what kind of magic power you get. Is it flight? Is it the death arrow? Or is it the love arrow? Or is it all of them?
I mean, it sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting, and then it stops being interesting.
Oh.
Like, I
Does
mean,
it be
it,
like Uncle from Another World, where they're like, just when it starts to get interesting, they just make a joke out of it, and that's it.
no. They don't make a joke out of it. They just like it was like they had a great idea, and it sounded good in the outline and on paper. Like, this is going to be phenomenal. And then they must have got to a certain point and were like, oh, the story's boring. Next.
They pulled the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, basically.
I don't want to finish this one. Let's move on.
And,
While
and it's
we're
a
on
shame because
tangent
I think it
time,
had potential.
I don't know if you guys saw, George R.R. Martin posted on his blog some criticisms he had of season 2 of House of the Dragon, and spoiled a death in season 3.
He
What?
did.
Why would he do that?
I saw that he wasn't happy, but I didn't see what
He
said.
removed the post, I think, when he figured it out. I didn't see it. I didn't. People were posting screenshots of it. I refused to read it, refused to look at it because I don't want to know. But people were like, "Hey, dude, how about you stop criticizing the show and just finish your books? Stop writing new shows. Stop writing other things. Just get the book done."
That's truth, man.
Yeah.
If he had the book done, Game of Thrones would have ended a lot better.
Yeah. I'm still going to read it. I mean, I was questioning it after the last season of Game of Thrones, but, the book was so much more in depth about so many things that I still want to read, even if he ends it the same way. It'll probably won't be as...
I can't imagine he would.
He won't. But, I mean, even if he did, it would still be written better. And I'd still, even though I disagree with the choices, I'd still be like, okay, good.
And then the cousins kissed each other passionately.
No, they were uncle and it was their aunt and nephew.
Oh yeah, aunt and nephew, that's right. Whatever. And they kissed each other incestuously. The end.
Then he
Boy,
plunged
George,
his
you're a
knife
genius.
He plunged his knife into her heart, and the dragon came up, was gonna eat him, but then just flew away.
No, he melted the chair first.
Yeah, he melted the chair with all the swords in it, and then he went away.
And then everyone decided that Bran was the bestest boy, and he should be king.
Couldn't be a Lannister.
Good job, George.
The one remaining Lannister couldn't have been him.
No, I think he would have far better writing than what we got.
Yeah.
But back to Death Note.
Let's go back to Death Note.
Because I even want to talk about, I went back and forth.
Ah.
When Misa kind of went rogue, we'll say, and was doing her own investigating, and she was in the car with Higachi. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this guy is such a creep. I'm like, they really, whoever wrote this, man, woman, whoever it is, whether we ever know, I was like, they couldn't have done a better job of just writing a sleazy corporate executive who
Yeah.
has almost ultimate power.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, that's such a good job. And she is so calm. I don't. Every time I think I understand her character pretty well,
What has happened in her past, man?
I know.
Like she was super calm with the whole arresting scene when she's like,
When she was
tied
tied
up
up.
and yeah,
Yeah. She's just like, oh, I haven't had my other stalkers go this far.
right.
You've had what? And she's just like, whenever you're done, I'm ready to leave, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like right on top of her,
be
like,
right
how are you
back.
going to prove you're the second Kira? She's just, oh, well, you pick somebody and I'm like, how is she so calm? Man, she's like
Right.
a superhero.
She just doesn't care because nothing can happen to her, right? I mean, when she's got the eyes,
Yeah, I guess that's true. I never thought of it that way.
yeah, anybody threatens her and she can just take them out. So she's got nothing to worry about.
Man, she's just kudos to her because man, I watch this
She
and
can
I'm just
still, well, she can still take out Light if she wanted to.
yeah.
Well, not anymore, I guess.
No,
well,
she
she
still
could've.
could
She could.
because remember she
Yeah,
dug up.
she got the eyes
where,
back.
and she knows where Ryuk's Death Note is. Because remember, Light had her go dig it up because he wanted her to kill out. So she could still kill him, but she never will. She is so
So you
completely.
said
she never
that you said that Misa could kill Light, right?
Yes.
But would
Yeah.
she?
No.
She's
never.
mentioned on multiple occasions, I know that you just want to use me, and I'm okay with that.
No, she never would, but she could. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I wish anyone. What's up?
Because I'm not showering because I won't come up, so
Well, tell me asked you.
I did.
Well, I mean, she seems like the highly emotional type too.
Hmm.
And if she feels like she's been crossed, she could do it.
Yeah, I think to any but Light, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I do agree. I think that she would easily, especially, if she's got the eyes and she happens to have, the notebook with her. Oh, yeah, she would easily, off anybody. Like, she doesn't have the same sort of like morals that Light does, if you want to call it morals. She doesn't sit there thinking that only criminals should die. She's pretty much anybody that I want, whenever I want, because Rem gave me this special book and said that I can use it just for me.
Yeah. I mean, if she felt someone was getting in between her and Light,
Yes. Oh, well, like, okay, so Light even mentions that he might have to keep up appearances and date other girls here and there. And she was kind of like, are you really? And he had to sort of talk her off the ledge a minute and be like, hey, like, you're still going to be my number one, though. Oh, okay, Light, I won't kill them. It's like, but you were
Yeah.
thinking about it.
yeah, she was. If somebody gets in her way, she will do it, but she won't do it to Light.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Mommy asked if I could ask you.
So one of the other things that I love, and I want to talk about this. I know we're kind of like working our way. We're working our way backwards. This is weird. We started at like the end, and we're kind of
Yeah, we always do that. That's us. It's our style.
But I think one of my favorite things was, not very many people in this series are just outright dumb. A lot of the people who are involved in the whole Death Note saga, they all have some level of intelligence. Like even Higuchi, he at one point, like back when what's his name was threw himself off the ledge.
Matsuda.
Matsuda, he was smart enough to go back home and say, just in case, let me write this guy's name in the Death Note. They figure, okay, just in case there was some sort of trick, I've got my bases covered. Thinking that is definitely this guy's name. Then when he finds out after the fact, wait a minute, he must have given us a fake name because I wrote his name in the Death Note. So obviously, whoever that person is that's on TV, I know that's the same guy. He's got a different name. And so he's thinking, now I need to go to the TV studio. I need to pull his file. And I need to find out exactly who he is.
Yeah, and that was his undoing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was all
But I like that
perfectly
he's
planned
thinking
out.
it through. Like he's figuring out. Like most people, they see somebody fall off a ledge and see like a body on the ground. They're gonna think that dude's dead. Him, he's like, but just in case.
Yeah, just to be sure. I'm having a hard time remembering what happened in earlier episodes because I was so ramped up by the end of it.
Well, that first
Well,
You
episode,
know what I mean?
essentially what we were, what we were just talking about is pretty much how it started, right? So we left off with them figuring out it's definitely this executive. He's the one that has the death note. And so they go on like a police chase, essentially, trying to
well,
find
no,
him.
in the first episode of
Right?
21 was
Mm-hmm.
where Misa was meeting at the building, the Yatsuba group, and Rem lets her touch a piece of the Death Note in the bathroom,
Right.
and then she figures out it's Higachi because Rem's standing right behind, and then she comes
Yep.
back and lets Elle know, oh, I know who it is because I recorded him, and he's like, this
Mm-hmm.
seems suspicious because I couldn't figure it out, and she suddenly did. Yeah, but then, dude, the whole plan with, oh, we're going to air it on TV. And even the business guys, I don't know if you guys already talked about this while I was off having to do my parenting duties.
Not yet.
Where, like, the one guy in the group they had called, he's talking to other guys, and yeah, we already figured out it was that guy too. They don't write these characters to be, like, dumb. They're not just, oh,
Right.
how'd you figure that out? They piece things together, and they're
Yeah,
able to
yeah.
figure out situations, and that just adds to the enjoyment of the show. No character is just walking around.
But,
I'm as sharp as a
but
bowling ball.
what if
if?
what if Death Note but everybody was an idiot?
See, that'd be more of a comedy. That'd be pretty funny.
Everybody bumbling around.
Right.
I'd probably be rooting for him if that were the case. They're all
Yeah.
winning.
You just see
Get rid of all these
Light and
jokes.
L. You just see Light and L at their college. Light lifts up the Death Note that clearly says Death Note on it, and begins reading the fake name that L gave Ryuzaki in there. And L's staring at him. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Push the notebook down. Who do you think is Kira?
I've got my
So he pushes the
suspicions.
notebook down, all of a sudden he sees Ryu standing there.
Right, yes. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there before. Do you want to play pickleball?
Who's your friend?
You guys want to play some tennis? I'm really good.
Right. I'm really
I won some tournaments.
good. There is a tiny tangent. There is a series on, I think, Crunchyroll now. It used to be on Funimation. I assume it got moved over to Crunchyroll. That essentially kind of does that. They take all of these different anime characters, and they don't really explain how it happened. It doesn't matter. It's just like wabadabadoosh. Okay, magic, it happened. And they take all these characters from different worlds and cram them into a school together. And so you've got all these different characters all sitting in this schoolroom and all having to deal with like day to day and everything. And it's weird. It doesn't make any sense, but it's just a comedy. So you've got, characters from very serious anime now being presented in this weird comedic setting.
That sounds like it'd be fun.
That way, yeah. I think I would.
It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Who do we got in the chat here, Keith?
Let's
Here we
see. We
go.
got Emery. You is Kira, and me is Patman.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds right. I wish No, I'm glad I'm not Kira. What am I talking about? I don't know
Right?
who Patman is. Is that like Matt Pat? But that's just a theory. But even,
I wonder if Death Note had been made years later, like maybe this year or a few years ago, do you think it would still be a notebook, or do you think it would be like tablets?
Probably a tablet.
Oh,
You know what?
I've,
No, it'd
I've
have to
dropped
be a
my
notebook.
deaf iPad.
You
It would
have to
have to
know
be a
their
notebook.
email and social media avatar.
You have to know their @ on Twitter or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just, I think it would still be a notebook though, because it has to be a physical copy. You can erase a note, a computer or a notebook. Not notebook as in like a Android notebook.
Mm-hmm.
You can erase that stuff, but a Death Note I would think it would have to be written on paper. Do you still use paper, you guys?
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Well, there we go. We can still have a Death Note.
But we're all boomers, remember?
That's right.
That's right, we're boomers.
I did. One of my
You started your own Death Note?
yes. I'm writing names down, but nothing's happening. I must have the wrong names.
Uh-oh.
No, what is that? Oh,
Is that Madam Web? What is that?
is that the manga?
Is that the Death Note? That's a Death Note. Don't write my name in there, Doug.
Manga.
Now, is that a book? Can you open it up? Can we see inside? What have you written? Oh, that's awesome. You got the rules. Wait, why doesn't it start in the back? Like, mangas.
I don't know, Dave. Why don't I find out?
Ah, no!
You know it's got to be 40 seconds, Dave. Come on.
How do you
Well,
spell,
I had to figure them out.
how do you spell your last name? For no particular reason.
LQ
Uh-huh.
Y.
Uh-huh.
Fix a fiddler.
Okay.
My name is Steve Buscemi.
She was awesome.
No, he is awesome. That's the first name that popped in my head. But when the executive wrote what he thought his name was, and all of a sudden, like they think, oh, he just like wrote a note in his thing. Why did he leave the file? Oh, he just wrote the guy's name in the book, so he can do it later or whatever. And they're like, why is he so calm all of a sudden? We're about to announce it or whatever. And then after 40 seconds clicks, he's like, hey, oh my God, what's going on? And he like pretty much figured out he was tricked. And it's nice that they don't just have Ellen Light like, oh, it must be 40 seconds. They didn't figure out
Right.
writing in a book is what killed him. They were still like, what? Why is he doing that? Oh, he must feel pretty confident now. He's all calm. And then, whoa, why is he freaking out now? What all of a sudden set it off? It's nice seeing it, even though we know the answer. They still write the characters in the scene as being ignorant, as they should be. They're not just, oh, the audience knows, so everybody knows. And even
I
L.
love the blunder at the TV studio.
Oh, when they
Drop the
reveal his
shade.
face.
Oh,
The
You were gonna add something. What were you
yeah,
gonna
now
add?
I forgot. Well,
Sorry.
Oh, darn it.
No.
You said something about L. You said even L.
Oh, L. When they're like, okay, we know it's him, but we have to figure out how he kills. We just can't go arrest him. We have to figure this out. I was like, yes, you do. Now, how are they going to do it? Oh my God! But it was nice. I really liked it. It was a very nice touch to have the one cop who left because of his family be a part of that blockade when he
Yes.
was running. I was like, I didn't expect that, and I'm so glad they did it that way because he never wanted to leave, and we obviously saw the
He
scene
did care.
yeah, he really wanted
This
to
was
catch
important
Kira.
to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's right though. I mean, it just wasn't the same in the brief period of moments that we had without L. It just wasn't the same.
Well,
Kira said it right.
can I give you a teeny tiny, barely a spoiler?
That's up to Keith.
I want to say no, but I also want to hear it. Because,
I'll
like I
keep it
said,
vague.
like I said earlier, I don't want just another L appearing. I think that would make me, there's really should only be like one type L in the world. That.
Well, I can promise you this much: you're not going to see another L.
Is that because his
Is it
name
going
is Q or
to be
something?
similar?
Hmm.
When you say
Well,
we're
like I
not going to
said,
see
there's
another
other.
L,
Yeah, no, there's other letters in the alphabet.
So Q from James Bond.
You're going to see an M, and then you're going to see an N. And no, they're not exactly like L. They're kind of smart, but they're like the way I would put it, they're sort of like the worst versions of L.
Oh, great.
They're like if you split him into two. It's like, you remember, hold on, Keith, go ahead and get ready to hit the button. It's like that episode of Rick and Morty where Rick and Morty got their toxic cells separated.
Oh yeah.
That's essentially what you're about to see.
Oh boy. I hope I still like it, because I just didn't know what they're gonna do without somebody who's just like tit for tat against them. And I'm thinking, all right, well maybe it's, I guess this is the what if section for me. What if it, if his dad becomes the main steward? But his dad hasn't been really quick to put all this stuff together either.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like,
And his dad is super biased because he doesn't believe it's his son. There's no way he's ever gonna believe that.
mm-hmm.
So it couldn't be him, and it couldn't be Matsuda because he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer,
No. He's got a few crayons missing from the Crayola box there.
Yeah, I mean, and who does that leave? So they'd have to bring in somebody else, and geez, I'm not too excited about that. I like the character development that's been going on. I wish it would be somebody that we already knew. Who else? Could it be somebody we already knew? Have they already been introduced to replace that spot in the plot? What do you guys think? I know what you think, Doug. You know the answer. What do you think, Keith?
see, I think it's going to be whoever we saw, the two kids at the end of episode 26. That information was sent. Al sent that information to that old dude, and then he's like telling those kids. I think those kids are going to be the ones that, and I don't know,
Eminem?
like they jumped ahead like 5 years or something because we saw L join
Yep.
the NPA, and I'm assuming he's been Kira this whole time, killing people. And then we saw that L had automatically, Light thought he deleted all that stuff. And then it was shown that L actually sent it, which I'm assuming is all of the data he had on the Kira case, which makes me think that these guys don't have to be as smart as L. They have all the information L gathered, and it would just be up to them to be able to prove that it was Light Yagami. So they're not. I hope I'm with you, Dave. If all of a sudden there's just another L going, step for step, keeping ahead of Light and keeping him off his feet, I'll probably be like, then why'd you kill L? You could have continued it on. But if they introduce something different and it changes things up, then I'll definitely, be on board for those next 11 episodes. Probably to the same degree I've been, the first 26.
So I've got a dumb question.
There are no dumb
There are
questions.
no numbers.
So I had to look this up because I couldn't wrap my mind around it. Did you know that college is not free in Japan, even for citizens? It's not free. And very few people get scholarships. So does that mean that Light essentially paid for, we'll say bare minimum, a year of college, went to a handful of classes, and then just never went back?
I assumed he finished in the 5 years time jump.
Because that entire time that he was handcuffed to L, he clearly wasn't going to class. So, I mean, that's got to be at least administrative, expulsion or something.
Yeah, but I assumed the 5 year time jump was because it would take at least 4 years to maybe complete college, or 3.5, whatever it's going to be. And I thought that's why he joined the NPA after he actually graduated college, because without L, he's free to be Kira, pretty much, and, you know, do school and everything else. That's my assumption. Once again, I'll know in about an hour and 20 minutes.
I truly didn't know, because I was like, you know, I was thinking about this as I was watching. I'm like, this whole time that they've been, you know, in this huge building that L had built, L is like, or Light is there like all the time. And L even comments when he goes on a date with Misa for all of 5 minutes in the lobby. He's like, you know, you're free. You can go have a love life. You know that, right? And he's just like, well, you know, I'd rather, I want to solve this case. I got to catch Kira. And it's like, so he's here like all the time. He's definitely, there's no way he's going to school doing all this, because if he can't even, if he's not even going out to have a love life, he's probably not going to school either. And it was a little nitpick, and it bothered me. It's not something I would normally think about, but the fact that I've seen the show, now I'm like, I'm picking apart little things I never noticed before.
And no show is perfect. I mean, I think, you know, you watch, well, maybe except for, you know, Dave's favorite.
Smallville.
But, I mean, there's, you know, even probably, you know, little nitpicks in there. No show is ever going to be perfect. I mean, everyone, it's like political candidates. No one completely agrees with any political candidate, normally. You just pick the person who's closest to what you think and, you know, what's most important to you. And, you know, that's kind of like with shows. You like what you watch. There's always times, you know, you watch a show and you really like it, and you're like, they probably could have done that better. But you still enjoy it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you watch it enough, you start overanalyzing every little situation.
I mean, speaking of Smallville, you know, the first 4 years of that were the 4 years of high school that they were in. And then when they went to college, it's like they went for a semester.
Same thing.
And then that was it. They were done. You just dropped the whole
boring.
college topic. Yeah. I think Chloe actually finished school, but they didn't show it, you know? So they were done.
Well,
done.
I mean, she had other things to do, right?
Yeah, she had other things. She had to go be the watchtower for the Justice League, you know?
I don't think that's what Doug's talking about.
Yeah, she had some other stuff too. Getting a lot of really close friends, if you know what I mean.
Giggity, giggity.
What happened?
I ate a chip.
At least Kristen Krug didn't go for that whole thing when they tried.
Oh,
to
yeah.
tempt her.
Yeah.
But we're not
So
paused
for, huh?
We're not paused online. We're still live.
Oh yeah, no, we're still live. So I as far as Death Note is concerned, I'll give you my my feelings on what is about to happen without giving any spoilers. For me personally, after L dies, to me the series isn't as good as it was. It's fine, and there's a couple of standout episodes here and there, and it definitely ends with a bang. But to me, you can really tell that it's missing something with L being gone, in my opinion. But I am very curious to see what you both will think when you start watching the next group of episodes. But yeah, to me, this part 2 just, it isn't my favorite. There, like I said, there's a couple of really good episodes, but it isn't all great.
I remembered that both Kenny and Mike, our buddies on YouTube, were like, yeah, episodes like 15 through 25 are classic. And I was like, I noticed they didn't mention episodes 27 to,
or 26.
I mean, it would be
Because
pretty hard.
26 was,
Yeah, 26 was the
well,
last
26.
episode.
Yeah, and it was also a lot of previously on.
Mm.
You know, there was a lot of that. Doug Moore,
Previous
that's
Leon.
yeah, previous Leon from Rick and Morty. Brother Rick and Morty. Say next time on that'll get rid.
Well, I did warn you that there was going to be a a bit of a flashback.
Yep.
That's your anime that's normal, right there.
Yeah,
Well,
but all we
half
really
the-
got
half-
in that 26, I mean, pretty much 25 was where everything kind of went down, mostly. I mean, they were building up
Yeah.
to it. And 26 was, hearing the whole case over again, and then just basically seeing Light Kira again murdering everybody. I mean,
Yep.
he murdered Webby, Aber, all of the Yatsuma group. I mean, he was just like, they were just dropping like flies everywhere. And then, the jump. Whatever. Did they say, I don't know why I got 5 years. But I thought
No,
it was.
it was.
Okay, good.
It
I was
is.
like, I can't remember
Yep.
if I saw it or what was going
No,
on.
you did.
Good. So, and, I assume I'm looking at this like it's almost like a prologue. Like, the real show was, 1 through 26 basically, and this is kind of leads us out softly. It's not going to be,
Softly, okay.
Hopefully.
It's going to be the opposite of softly.
well, good.
Yeah,
Like,
like I
well,
said,
As
there
big
are
as Akira.
they're definitely, like, I'm not saying the rest of the season is bad by any means. No, there are a lot of really good standout episodes, and if you thought that they were done giving us lore, no,
Oh, good.
we're still going to get more of that too.
I was worried about that.
We'll get some more Shinigami World.
What's that, Dave?
Are we gonna get some more Shinigami World?
We will.
Nice.
Well, we have to because he now has Rem's Death Note.
Yeah, they basically swapped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if
No,
you
but he has.
remember,
Doesn't he have Rem's actual Death Note? Because when Rem killed L, when he went up there, he grabbed the Death Note out of the dust.
he did.
So that is
Oh.
that's a third Death Note that he has now touched.
Because the Death Note that Misa had was Jealouses.
That's right. Yep.
Oh,
Yes. And don't forget, Ryuk's is still out there.
Yeah, buried. Yep.
Or, well, no, wait. Ryuk's is the one that they have, that the investigation team has.
You're right.
Misa has hers. So that was, I think that one was buried, right? The one that
Yes.
belonged to Jealous.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. And then Rem had hers. And if you remember in the first episode, Ryuk actually says he's going to go trick the Shinigami King into getting another Death Note. So, we have Rem's Death Note, Ryuk's Death Note that he got from the Shinigami King. We've got Jealous's Death Note. And then we also have the one that Ryuk dropped onto Earth.
Yep.
We've got a lot of Death Notes floating around out there.
That's right. Some might say too many. But man, I just wonder too how many criminals were killed in the 5 years that we don't know about, and how much of a deterrent it is to people when they're like, "I'm gonna commit." Nope, I don't want to get
No.
killed by Kira. So I think
It's like, Dear Kira, I want to do a B&E. Will you kill me? Yes. Never mind then.
what type of crime can I do and not be killed? None. Oh,
Oh. All I wanted to do was have some crime. I got a feeling it'll be a good time.
until Kira writes your name.
Oh, man.
And I did the one part I felt terrible at. After L was dead, you know, and then he went up and found the dust and took Rem's Death Note. He had to. He was celebrating, but he had to do it silently. You know, he couldn't be high-fiving people. He couldn't really, you know, show how excited he was that he finally won. You know, I felt a little bad for him. But man, it was a very evil, very sinister things are on their way type of celebration. And I'm glad that I was like, okay, are they going to have Light get caught at the end of this, and then the second part is going to be another person's, you know, Death Note, kind of unrelated to Kira, but like another adventure or whatever? And I wouldn't say worried, but I was kind of like, okay, they're going to have L and Light both die in part 1. Then all of part 2 is going to be someone else finding the Death Note, and how they use it. They can be completely different. So I'm kind of glad that Light is still alive. And we're going to see...
Well, it's funny that you mention that, because Japan, around the time that the original series released, they thought to themselves, we need to milk this for everything we can get out of it, because people are loving Death Note. So they went ahead and they made a live-action series that was roughly based on kind of a mix of both the show and the book. Kind of like they picked and chose a couple of things. And then, you know, when it ended, they're like, we want to do more. We like money. And so they just kind of made some stuff up and decided to do a sequel series with that exact premise. So this is many, many years later. People know stories of Kira, but it's kind of like a it's a legend. People aren't entirely sure if it actually happened or not. Like, enough time has passed that people are like, well, no, maybe it was just like a coincidence that a lot of people died all around the same time. No, there's definitely a supernatural dude. And then all of a sudden, another Death Note happens to find its way back to Earth. And
because the Shinigami are watching this happen, and they want to have some entertainment.
Yes, and there is one in particular. It's not Ryuk this time.
And the thing is, though, I don't think everyone would be Kira if they got the Death Note. I mean, I think other people might use it in different ways. I mean, they would be like, instead of targeting villains, target their enemies.
Yeah.
Oh, so and so, you know, got the promotion at work and the raise. I'm gonna
Like
do something.
Taguchi.
Yeah.
Like Taguchi
Or,
was doing.
God forbid, a hormonal teenager finds it.
Isn't that what
Becky made fun of me.
Isn't that
I
like...
didn't make the cheerleading team.
My dad grounded me for an hour.
Oh, crap.
Oh, Lord.
If I only write half his name, does that just mean he goes to sleep?
Dad. Why didn't it work?
I still remember this was when the tour first started, and we were all working from home. You know, everyone was enjoying, you know, the wonderful Nickelback tour that we got. And I was working from home. You know, my son was much younger, and we had a stand-up meeting in the morning. And so I was talking to...
Comedy?
Yes, we were practicing our stand-up. And
doing your type 5?
I got up and went to the bathroom during the call, and my son was like going, "Hey, me and Daddy," and I'm laughing. I'm like, you realize I don't call myself Daddy to people I work with. And he's like,
and Daddy, Daddy, do you have anything to add, Daddy? Thank you, Daddy.
That's what Doug's going to call you from now on.
"You better not offer to massage my feet now."
Hey, Daddy, let me see those feet.
Giddy up.
Don't worry. This will hurt at first, but just hang in there.
It's gonna hurt so good. Come on, Daddy, make it hurt so good.
We have definitely gotten off track here, gentlemen.
Sometimes feet rubs don't feel like they should.
But
Oh, we
should...
lost the viewer.
Did we? Aw. They're no fun. But should we rate these episodes?
I think we should.
We shall. Yeah.
David?
Oh, I guess I'll go first. As is tradition, these 6 episodes, although I had struggled to remember the first few because of the last few, were just so amazing. I think this ended on a note that the only thing I could see coming was Elle's death. We knew that was going to happen at some point. I didn't think it was going to happen this soon, so I'm kind of surprised by that. But everything else in the show is, to me, it's unpredictable, but it's very well thought out, and they really explain to you their thought process on how they got there. So it's not leaving any gaps in the storytelling. There's not really any gaping plot holes. We got our nitpicks that we've all said here tonight, but overall, they don't have any really plot holes. So, and saying that every week that we've seen this, every 4 days or every 4 or 5 episodes that we've been watching, it's just been getting better. And last batch, I gave it 8.5. I'm going to give this one a 9. It's still getting better. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next 11 episodes.
Yeah.
Dave, you read my mind because I want to give it the same rating.
Nice.
Yes, a 9 out of 10. The last bunch of episodes were good. Don't get me wrong, they were really good because it had, one of my favorite scenes. I love that twist where, I told you guys to look out for it, where Light's dad decides I'm going to prove once and for all whether it's actually, Light and Misa or not. And I thought it was such an emotional scene to have. But now this just like really amps it up to 11. So now we've got, we're seeing Light's plan finally completely unfolding. We're now seeing everything, all the pieces falling into place, everything that he's done, all the setup that he had to do to make all of this happen, where, he made sure that this one dude had the death note, was writing names. He's got these fake rules in there and everything. And the emotional scene as Elle realizes this is it. There's nothing left that I can do. I've reached the end. I know that Light is Kira, but I can't stop him. And so it's this almost traumatic scene where like the music is quiet and you just have this moment with these two. And it feels a little awkward at first, but at the same time it's kind of like everybody who's watching realizes, okay, well this is a culmination. Everything is coming to an end. It's either somehow Elle is going to figure out one last move or Light is going to win, but it's more than likely Light is going to win. And Elle realizes this. He's smart. He's a smart guy. And so the fact that they were able to create this scene, like I said, this isn't in the book. This is only in the anime. And I think it makes it better. In the book, you really just see Ryuzaki. He's, Elle, he's sitting at his computer running through everything, and then he kind of keels over, and that's it. Like, there's no scene really between him and Light. And so for all of that, and the fact that Rem, knowing full well what's going to happen, because she saw it happen with Jealous, gives up her life, saves Misa, and now we have come to the end of part 1. This is an easy 9 out of 10.
Yeah, this show does such a great job of building on the previous episodes. And even though we didn't talk about, 21 through 24 very much tonight, the way they handled the executive being Kira and how they caught him, and, the cat and mouse game, leading up to it and having to figure out how he's killing. It was just all, edge of your seat. I mean, this show has done such a great job of me, and I'm sure you guys too, not looking at our phones while the show is going on, because you want to take in every detail. And I was like you, Doug, when they met outside, and he was like, "Why are you standing in the rain?" He goes, "Do you always lie? Why do you always lie?" And I'm like, okay, he either has got him or he knows he's dead. And it did a great job because I wasn't sure which it was going to be. I really expected. I could have seen either way what actually happened when Light's plan finished up and Ren killed, L and the Watubi or whatever. What is his name? Why can't I ever get his name right?
Watari.
Watari, yes. And then
I call him Watari.
Watari.
Watery.
Yes. And then he goes upstairs and gets the ashes and the death note, or it could have been, L going, "Oh, you thought you won, but," and map it out or something, because they did a great job of explaining Light's whole plan to get the death note back after he lost his memory and everything. They could have easily written a way for L to have figured it all out and kind of ended right there, but I like the ending the way it was. Even I don't know why they did this, but when Ryuk gave Misa an apple from the Shinigami world, I'm like, that's really
It
gross.
looked like a pepper, right?
It did.
It's
She
weird.
said it tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that was, but I mean, this entire first part one of Death Note is honestly a masterclass in how to write a series, how to write characters, how to get people involved and care in the story for the characters. I mean, you even care for Light, even though he is basically a god of death at this point. But you root for him, and you kind of see, and I think the best part that they did with Light is when he, gave up ownership of the Death Note, and you saw that he was basically a good kid who was corrupted by the Death Note. Basically, it made a much better story. It made a deeper character, and I loved it. I think I gave the last one an 8.888. I'm going to give this a 9.25. I mean, this show was one of the best shows I've seen in a while. And that goes, animated, live action, everything. For what I thought this was going to be before we started and what we got, I mean, I can say nothing but thank you for all of this time of pure entertainment. I loved it. I can't wait to watch the next 11, even though I don't think it can possibly live up to the first 26.
I want to say this just popped into my head while you were talking, Keith. Another reason I thought that maybe Elle was still alive is because at the end of the show. Now I don't know how close to the end it was, so I might have to amend it. But nearing the end of the show, he said it's been 10 days since Elle died, and I'm like, all right, so it hasn't reached that 13th day. And I thought, so maybe he didn't die. But that was the only reason I thought he was still alive, actually. Besides hope. I was hoping he was alive, but yeah, it can't be.
I did expect at one part them to burn the Death Note. Like Light or Elle just grab it and burn it. And say, okay, if it kills everyone, let's test it out. And just light it on fire. Just to test the rule, because obviously we knew as the audience they made up those, rules at the back to kind of clear Misa and Light's name. So I'm like, once he said, we're gonna wait 13, we're gonna have a criminal write a name in there, wait 13 days and see what happens. I figured, let's just pick it up and burn it at this point. It kills everyone who's touched it. Let's see who's ready.
I don't know that he was. I don't know that many of them were really willing to needlessly sacrifice their own lives, though. I think if it came down to it, they all would have. But I think if they had a choice in the matter, I don't see, I don't see any of them, Elle included, just grabbing it and destroying it unless they realized that this is the only way that, we're going to solve this.
I think Elle, the reason he set up the whole 13-day test was because he knew it was fake. He just had to prove it.
Oh, yeah.
So he would have burned it. It would have been the same thing, proving that Death Note rule wasn't real.
Because he pointed
suspicion.
out how convenient it was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. There's a rule here that would completely make it so Misa wouldn't be under suspicion because we had her longer than 13 days. How convenient.
Yes, we had Misa and Light for 50 days. Well, and all the cops, you gotta let them out now. They're free. Let them unhandcuff them. Come on. It's like,
That's what the other police are for. That's what the rest of the investigation team is for. They're just there to be the audience, the people screaming nonsense because they're not doing anything.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
mean,
solving anything.
even civilians like us wouldn't think that was the end of it. But these guys are supposed to be, the cops that have the heightened sense, because they're on the task force. So they have the heightened sense of right and wrong, and what's, they can think about shit. And took over for Sierra right there. They can think about stuff a little more deeply than the rest of us. That's how it's supposed to be, but that's not how they're coming out.
Well, I have a bit of a Theory Palooza question for you two gentlemen. I want you to kind of maybe think about a bit.
okay.
All right.
So one of the main driving forces of this first part was not just trying to figure out who Kira is, but how he does what he does. So now that they have a Death Note with them in custody, now that they understand how this works, what do you all think? What are your theories on what the investigation team could possibly do next? Light out of the equation, because we know that he's Kira, but the actual, as far as an investigation goes, what could they possibly do next? What is their next step in figuring out who Kira is?
The only thing I thought of was doing handwriting analysis on who wrote the names and stuff. Because I thought about that, I'm like trying to think. I'm like, okay, wait, if they have Ryuk's, Death Note, Light's writing might be in there.
Yeah.
He didn't go out of his way
definitely.
to change his writing style because he didn't anticipate that. So, with the Death Note, they might start doing handwriting analysis, just figuring out, that, because remember, L knew that first one person he killed on that was, not accidental, but he was there, and they could piece together, this first kill, and Light was there, so blah, blah, blah. And, I outside of handwriting analysis, I can't figure out what else they could do with that Death Note to help solve Kira. So I'm hoping they write it in a way that makes sense and makes, some of these characters who haven't had a starring role or
Competent role.
Competent role. Yes, thank you, Dave. That's what I was looking for. Maybe are the ones that solve it. So, maybe Light's dad is the one that kind of figures it out and pieces it all together. But it'll be interesting to see. I just hope it's not, like I said earlier, all this Newell and Light just battling back and forth again. If that's what they're gonna do for part 2, they just should have ended at part 1. Left our imaginations go wild with what's he doing, after all that time.
5 years passed, and every criminal on the planet was dead.
So they had to fill those prisons with somebody. So here's your new home. Yeah.
Kira has moved on to aliens now. The Martians are pissed.
I don't know their names.
Just like I was gonna say something, but I won't say it.
Say it.
Not on the air. I'm not saying it on the air.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
I don't know what these letters are. Jones? What?
No,
Well, good.
he's the last one, and there's
Well-
a reason for that. At least that's what he says on Smallville.
But he's
No.
not. He's not the last Martian. We find in the comics he's not, and in Young Justice he's not.
Well, that's not what he says on Smallville. That's my. Whole
I know. For a long time in the comics, he was the last Martian. For the longest time
So
in the
they
comics,
just-
he was the last Martian too. But then they were like, "Hey, let's write some more Martians because they're interesting."
Right.
Yeah, let's like it's like adding more Kryptonians.
Yes.
It's just they just come out of everywhere.
It's like Jedi that survived Order 66. There's hundreds
Right.
of them, thousands of them now. We thought they
Did
were
you
all
ever
dead.
notice? Did you ever notice in Justice League and in Young Justice that whenever Martian Manhunter could have completely saved the day because he's so friggin' powerful that they nerf him just like the MCU does with Vision?
Oh yeah. Yep. But I am looking forward to that Vision show. Speaking of the Vision,
Yeah, me too.
especially if those
Hey, we
rumors are
haven't-
right.
Especially because we're getting White Vision.
Well, I mean, when's it coming out? 2026?
They
Is it
start
coming out that
filming
late?
next
Jeez.
year, so yeah, it's
Wow.
2026.
Jeez.
It's like Ahsoka starts filming next summer.
God, when you sent me that, Dave, I was so disappointed. I guess I didn't really think of it. It's already September of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
was really hoping it would start filming this year, and maybe we'd get it late next year. But they're saying summer of 2025. Ahsoka season 2 is going to start filming.
Yeah.
Are there any rumors yet about what they're gonna do about Balen Skull?
Nope.
You know who would be a great replacement? I mean, not that.
You.
No.
Oh.
Leave Schreiber.
I could see that.
Yeah, that would
I could
definitely
definitely
be
see
cool.
that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, should we
Okay,
find
I
somebody to
said-
rip? Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I sent a picture of Sabine to Sierra. I just keep sending Sabine stuff.
Because she liked Akira, didn't she?
She did like Akira. You probably like Akira too. It just
You
to
should
me
see-
it wasn't an A. It was more like a B.
I need to find it because someone had like a meme of the motorcycle slide in Akira and then Sabine doing
Mm-hmm.
it in Ahsoka. And I was like,
Oh my god!
Sierra.
Send that to her. Yes.
but hey, let's find
you
somebody
go.
to raid.
All right. Let's see. I see
TG is
Bubble. Oh, TG is on? Oh, we gotta raid him. We haven't raided him in forever.
Before we went on. He must get tired, you know, if they're working all day, then talking all night on Twitch.
And we don't.
But he does it every night, doesn't he?
No, I think he does it 3 or 4 nights a week, but
Oh, okay.
You know, I will give him a lot of credit for constantly coming up with new material. Like, every time we join his stream, he's always got something new and interesting to talk about, some cool new memes, some videos to show. You got to follow this dude if you're not already out there.
100% true. But we are going to raid him. For those of you watching on YouTube, this is something we do on Twitch, where all of our viewers get sent to another Twitch streamer who we like, appreciate, and we want to share their greatness. And this is Terrible Gaming. He is on YouTube, so look him up. He's awesome. But we will see you guys all Sunday night. We'll be talking about episodes 27 to 31.
30th.
Yes,
Yeah,
27
we're doing
30. You're
4.
right. Yep, we're doing
Yeah,
4,
we're doing
4, and
4.
then 3. So we got 3 more streams talking about Death Note. We hope you'll join us. It's been a wonderful ride. We hope part 2 is as good as part 1. But please join us Sunday night at 8 p.m. to talk about episodes 27 through 30.
Hey fellow nerds, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of this stuff, make sure that you check out our Twitch stream. We try to do these live Sunday or Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep an eye on our social media to find out when you can join in live and chat with us during these live streams. Also, as usual, don't forget to check out our other social media. Add us at Twitter, comment down below, and we'll see you next time right here on Not Your Status Quo.